This is from Politico. U.S. and Europe warn Hezbollah to ease strikes on Israel and back off from wider Mid-East war. Iran and Israel traded threats of what Iran said would be an obliterating war over Hezbollah. We need more sleep.
U.S., European, and Arab mediators are pressing to keep stepped up cross-border attacks between Israel and Lebanon. Iran-backed Hezbollah militants from spiraling into a wider Middle East war that the world has feared for months.
Yeah, it's all really hard to say.
Can these fucking journalists get in? Hopes are lagging for a ceasefire in Israel's conflict with Hamas in Gaza that would calm attacks by Hezbollah and other Iranian-allied militias. With the stalled talks in mind, American and European diplomats and other officials are delivering warnings to Hezbollah, which is far stronger than Hamas but seen as overconfident, about taking on the military might of Israel, current and former diplomats say. The might of Israel? You mean they cry to America to do everything for them? The Americans and Europeans are warning the group it should not count on the United States or anyone else being able to hold off Israeli leaders if they decide to execute battle-ready plans for an offensive into Lebanon, and Hezbollah should not count on its fighters' ability to handle whatever would come next. On both sides of the Lebanese border, escalating strikes between Israel and Hezbollah, one of the region's best armed fighting forces, appeared at least to level off this week. While daily strikes still pound the border area, the slight shift offered hope of easing immediate fears, which had prompted the U.S. to send an amphibious assault ship with a Marine expeditionary force to join other warships in the area in hopes of deterring a wider conflict. Why are we always trying to stick our dick in crazy?
Yeah, so we're like, hey guys, we're going to try to make sure we keep peace, but we're going to send our war assault ships over.
Yeah, don't you see
assault ship is not a peace.
Yeah. Like, you see the aircraft carrier? That's a white flag. That's a...
You see the bomb that
it's an olive branch, bro.
Do you see that bomb? We painted a white flag on it and then signed it.
Despite this past week's plateauing of hostilities, said Gerald Furstein, a former senior U.S. diplomat in the Middle East, it certainly seems that Israelis are still arranging themselves in the expectation that there will be some kind of conflict, an entirely different magnitude of conflict. This message being delivered to Hezbollah is, don't think that you're capable as you think you are, he said. I think Israel's overconfident. They're going to start shit in the south, start shit in the north, and ask for daddy to come save them. Beginning the day after Hamas's October 7th attacks on Israel triggered the war in Gaza, Hezbollah has launched rockets into northern Israel and vowed to continue until a ceasefire takes hold. Israel has hit back with the violence, forcing tens of thousands of civilians from the border in both countries. Attacks intensified this month after Israel killed a top Hezbollah commander, and Hezbollah responded with some of its biggest missile barrages. UN humanitarian chief Martin Griffiths used the word apocalyptic to describe a war that could result. Both Israel and Hezbollah, the dominant force in politically fractured Lebanon, have the power to cause heavy casualties. Such a war would be a catastrophe for Lebanon, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said as he met recently with Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant at the Pentagon. Another war between Israel and Hezbollah could easily become a regional war with terrible consequences for the Middle East. Gallant, in response, said, "We are working closely together to achieve an agreement, but we must also discuss readiness on every possible scenario. Analysts expect other Iran-allied militias in the region would respond far more forcefully than they have for Hamas, and some experts warn of ideologically motivated militants streaming into the region to join in. Europeans fear destabilizing refugee flows. And if it looks like any Israeli offensive in Lebanon is going seriously south for the Israelis, the U.S. will intervene. I don't think that they would see any alternative to that, while Iran, which is preoccupied with a political transition at home, shows no signs of wanting a war now. It sees Hezbollah as a strategically vital partner in the region, much more so than Hamas, and could be drawn in." Upping tensions, Iran's UN mission said in a posting Saturday on X that an obliterating war would ensue if Israel launches a full-scale attack in Lebanon. Israeli Foreign Minister Katz responded by pledging his country would move against Hezbollah with full force unless it stopped attacks. While the U.S. helped Israel knock down a barrage of Iranian missiles and drones in April, the U.S. likely would not do as well assisting Israel's defense against any broader Hezbollah attacks, said General C.Q. Brown, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. It is harder to fend off the shorter-range rockets that Hezbollah fires routinely across the border, he said. The Israeli army is stretched after a nearly 9-month war in Gaza, and Hezbollah holds an estimated arsenal of some 150,000 rockets and missiles capable of striking anywhere in Israel. Israeli leaders, meanwhile, have pledged to unleash Gaza-like scenes of devastation in Lebanon if a full-blown war erupts. You know, bomb them like pussies, carpet bomb babies. White House officials have blamed Hezbollah for escalating tensions and said it backs Israel's right to defend itself. The Biden administration also has told the Israelis that opening a second front is not in their interest. That was a point hammered home to Gallant during his latest talks in Washington with Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, Austin, CIA Director William Burns, and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, among others. We are going to continue to help Israel defend itself. That's not going to change, White House National Security Spokesman John Kirby said. But as for a hypothetical, especially with respect to the northern borderline, again, we want to see no second front open, and we want to see if we can't resolve the tensions out there through diplomatic processes. White House officials, however, are not discounting the real possibility that a second front in the Mid-East conflict could open. In conversations with Israeli and Lebanese officials and other regional stakeholders, there is an agreement that a major escalation is not in anybody's interest, a senior Biden administration official said. The official, who is not authorized to comment publicly about White House deliberations and spoke on condition of anonymity, bristled at the purported logic of Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, arguing that Israel would see an end to Hezbollah attacks by reaching a ceasefire agreement with Hamas in Gaza. But the official also acknowledged that the elusive ceasefire deal in Gaza would also go a long way in quieting tensions on the Israel-Lebanon border.
One is this right here. Them being like to Hezbollah, don't think that you're as capable as you think you are. Like, that's just some
like
weak ass shit.
Schoolyard cringe, dude.
And so is, if you mess with me, I'll do to you like I did to Gaza.
You know what I did? Do you know what I did? I killed their babies.
The next thing I wanted to point out was them saying this right here. Beginning the day after Hamas's October 7th attacks on Israel triggered the war in Gaza.
No, that's fucked. No.
Yeah, the war that I seen that too, and I was just like, oh no, I need to point that out. That
the genocide started in 1948.
Yeah.
When the occupation started in 1967, the official one anyway.
The more we've been learning on it and stuff, I've seen those two things, and I wanted to point that out.
It's like we can't wait to do more war crimes.
If you're going to be the school bully, if somebody stands up to you that's just as big or bigger than you are, you can't go running home to daddy. You take care of
They
yourself.
are though. That's exactly what they're gonna do.
I know. And then they're gonna cry and be like, they started it and Cartman. A Cartman.
Yeah, literally, Israel is literally Cartman.
Yes.